Perhaps you're familiar with the all-seeing eye that is the symbol of the dark overlords. There is another useful use of that symbol. I'm going to talk about the non-seeing eye. I see a lot of people talking about this entrance to the next age of Aquarius, if we can get through this galactic alignment intact, and the word on the street is that there's going to be a spiritual enlightenment. I don't think that's going to happen without some work on the part of each person. If you do the math on these 13,500 year events, or the 25,000 year events, which are ages of the Earth's axis pointing at different signs of the zodiac, and divide that into 1.9 million years. Somebody's found cooked human food from 1.9 million years ago. You get the big ones happen 67 times, and the little ones happen 157 times, I think. Roughly, you can do the math. I've forgotten the exact figures. But we're still here, so they can't be that big a deal. Also, we didn't ascend to the next level either, so... this is a talk about absence of unity in man. I'm going to do a series on barriers to ascension. They're known. You can work on them and get through them. This is by a guy called George Gurdjieff, who was a very important Fourth Way School author and teacher. Fourth Way School combines the way of the religious way, which is the way, the emotional way, the way of the yogi, which is the way of control of the body, or control of the mind, and the fakir, which is control of the body. And the Fourth Way School combines the best of those other three methods. I'm quoting from this lecture. One of man's important mistakes, he said, one which must be remembered, is his illusion in regard to his I. Man such as we know him, the man-machine, the man who cannot do, and with whom and through whom everything happens, cannot have a permanent and single I. His I changes as quickly as his thoughts, feelings, and moods, and he makes a profound mistake in considering himself always one and the same person. In reality, he is always a different person, not the one he was a moment ago. Man has no permanent and unchangeable I. Every thought, every mood, every desire, every sensation says I, and in each case it seems to be taken for granted that this belongs to the whole man, and that a thought, a desire, or an aversion is expressed by his whole. In actual fact, there is no foundation whatever for this assumption. Man's every thought and desire appears and lives quite separately and independent of the whole. And the whole never expresses itself, for the simple reason that it exists as such, only physically as a thing, and in the abstract as a concept. Man has no individual I. But there are, instead, hundreds and thousands of separate small I's, often entirely unknown to one another, never coming into contact, or on the contrary, hostile to each other, mutually exclusive and incompatible. Each minute, each moment, man is saying or thinking I, and each time his I is different. Just now it was a thought, now it was a desire, now a sensation, now another thought, and so on endlessly. Man is a plurality. Man's name is legion. The alternation of I is their continual obvious struggle for supremacy is controlled by accidental external influences. Warmth, sunshine, fine weather, immediately call up a whole group of I's. Cold, fog, rain, call up another group of I's. Other associations, other feelings, other actions. There is nothing in man able to control this change of I's, chiefly because man does not notice or know of it. He lives always in the last I. Some I's, of course, are stronger than others, but it is not their own conscious strength. They have been created by the strength of accidents or mechanical external stimuli. Education, imitation, reading, the hypnotism of religion, caste and traditions or the glamour of new slogans create very strong I's in man's personality, which dominate whole series of other weaker I's, but their strength is the strength of the roles in the centers. And all I's making up a man's personality have the same origin in these roles, which is like he's using a piano player role as an analogy. They are the results of external influences, and both are set in motion and controlled by fresh external influences. Man has no individuality. He has no single big I. Man is divided into a multiplicity of small I's. This is why diets don't work. One I decides to go on a diet, and then you have to do it. Or New Year's resolutions, or every day I'm going to quit coffee the next morning, and every morning I get up and a different I makes coffee, and off we go. And each separate small I is able to call itself by the name of the whole, to act in the name of the whole, to agree or disagree, to give promises, to make decisions with which another I or the whole will have to deal. This explains why people so often make decisions and so seldom carry them out. A man decides to get up early, beginning from the following day. One I or a group of I's decides this. But getting up is the business of another I who entirely disagrees with the decision and may even know absolutely nothing about it. Of course, the man will again go on sleeping in the morning, and in the evening he will again decide to get up early. In some cases, this may assume very unpleasant consequences for a man. A small accidental I may promise something, not to itself but to someone else at a certain moment, simply out of vanity or for amusement. Then it disappears. But the man, that is the whole combination of other I's who are quite innocent of this, may have to pay for it all his life, like joining the army, for example. It is the tragedy of a human being that any small I has the right to sign checks and promissory notes, and the man, that is the whole man, has to meet them. People's whole lives often consist in paying off the promissory notes of small accidental I's. In these schools there are, this is an idea that is not known in the world in general, and you're given small, what are called small aims, just to prove to yourself that this is true, and nothing really heavy. The teacher may start you with an exercise that just says stop, and whatever you're doing you just stop, even if it means you're out of balance and fall over. But you don't move until he says go again, and while that's happening you see what's going on inside your head. So the next stage up is there'll be one large group of these I's, and this is what people have to work against to even be able to hold a position in space and be themselves for even a minute when you start. The struggle against the big I is called the false I, or chief feature. And chief features are vanity, power, non-existence, things like that. The struggle against the false I, against one's chief feature or chief fault, is the most important part of the work, and it must proceed in deeds, not words. For this purpose, the teacher gives each man definite tasks which require, in order to carry them out, the conquest of his chief feature or weakness. When a man carries out these tasks, he struggles with himself, works on himself. If he avoids the tasks, tries not to carry them out, it means that either he does not want to or he cannot work. As a rule, only very easy tasks are given at the beginning, which the teacher does not even call tasks, if he does not say much about them but gives them in the form of hints. I'm going to carry on with these things in a small series.